Guten Tag. You still with me?
I am. All right. Hello, everybody. Guten Tag, all of my friends out in Facebook land. Welcome to another Monday morning coffee chat. I've got my coffee and I got my friends. As you guys know, I have friends all over the world and we are all talking all the time. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to let you guys in on my conversations with my friends and what they're all up to. Last week we featured Joanne Bergerman from Rome, who's married to a Swiss Guard. And this week, we are featuring my longtime friend of more than 20 years, Stephen McPhilemy. Guten Tag, Stephen.
Grüezi miteinander. my new Swiss German accent. So developed Stephen, after two months of isolation in the Alps.
So if you don't know Stephen McPhilemy, he is one of my colleagues from Rick Steves. We've been tour guides together at Rick Steves for more than 20 years. He focuses on Ireland, but he's gotten into the hotels business over the last few years. He owns a hotel in Dingle called Milltown House and recently bought the Rick Steves' favorite Swiss hotel, Hotel Oberland, where he has been locked down with his beautiful wife for the past 2 months. So you just moved into the hotel when the lockdown started.
Yeah, I remember we got over here after I had been over visiting you and everybody in Seattle around late January, and then we arrived here. I think it was about February 4th, and I remember the day sorry for the noise in the background, but I remember the day we came here to buy the hotel, and there was a few articles about a virus in China, and I remember we started talking about it, thinking maybe we should investigate this a bit more, and everybody said no, it'll be fine, no big deal, just like SARS in 2003 or whatever. And now here we are 2 months later. We didn't see a tourist for 2 months until just this last week when we've reopened again. But by God, it has been incredibly busy. So if anybody's wondering what travel will look like when lockdowns are lifted, lockdown has officially been lifted in Switzerland, and numbers are as busy as ever.
And you're speaking only of Swiss people, though, because the borders are closed.
Well, we have people who are living in Switzerland. So because the place is so international here, like we have Americans who are working in pharma or finance in Geneva or Zurich, and we have foreign workers, and we have people from like every nationality still coming here. But yes, everybody who's visiting has to live inside the borders of Switzerland because the borders are still closed. But they open on June 8th to Germany, Austria, maybe June 15th. I can't remember exactly, but one of those, it's very soon. And we're expecting a flood of Germans then. Which is good. I meant that in a very good way. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Today we had such a busy weekend. We closed up the hotel today and tomorrow. People here can only legally work a 5-day week, so I've decided for the next maybe month or so I might stay closed Mondays and Tuesdays, and then I can keep all the staff Tuesday to Sunday. So Switzerland's pretty strict about that kind of thing.
Gosh, I didn't know about that. Huh.
Yeah.
Except for you get to work every day of the week, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm officially, but it's just so blissful here, and I've just opened this. This used to be a little parking lot or something, but I've turned it into a beer garden just behind me here.
Yeah, this was never anything useful. Nobody was ever in that space. Super cute.
See here. Yeah. Over in the corner was their ski room where they would keep their skis and their sleds and their helmets, and I decided to paint a Swiss flag on it, which was pretty easy to do, just our white cross on a red background. And then I ordered this outside beer tap and the beer fridge. Unfortunately, it's still empty, but I'll get that going next weekend when there's another big national holiday coming. And this place was rocking over the weekend. God, now we have a very strict 2 meter distance between every table, and obviously we're washing hands like crazy. We've got some signs around the place and saying they'll keep 2 meters distance, but it's all common sense and easy enough to do. This terrace here, I remember seeing a photograph of you on Instagram here with a big bowl of fondue or something.
Rushdie,
And
yeah.
a roasty, right? There might have been 20 tables here on this terrace, and this is the prime restaurant real estate in Lauterbrunnen, which is rocking busy during the summer. So instead of 20 tables here now, I think we have, looks like there's about 6 or 7 there. So, there's a financial hit, but I'm just happy to be open again and seeing people again and being able to welcome people. Obviously, there's no hugs anymore or no handshakes, but there's also no masks here, and people don't have to wear masks, and nobody's wearing them.
Really? Wow, that's surprising.
Huh. I haven't seen a single mask. I don't know what this guy's called, but
oh. So you want to show us around the property a little bit?
Yeah.
A lot of people out there, the Hotel Oberland, you've probably stayed there. I've stayed there. I don't even know how many nights, and I've eaten in that restaurant. I don't know how many times, because it's my favorite restaurant in the Lauterbrunnen area. So this will look familiar to a lot of you guys if you have been on a Rick Steves Best of Europe.
Yeah. I just, before I do that, my darling wife, Hubia, is over here.
Hello, Rubia.
Oh. So, yeah, okay, so let's have a little look here. So this is us going inside Hotel Oberland. The cow pattern of everything is still here. Remember?
I was wondering if you were going to change that.
Yeah. And then there used to be, they used to sell cowbells or something in here, but I've changed that now to Swiss whiskey. And there's a bottle of Dingle gin. Have to have some Irish. Sarah, can you see the Swiss wine here?
Yeah.
There's some look from Ticino, the Italian part. There's some here from Vallis. And I didn't know how good Swiss wine was. Like, it's pretty nice. And they told me that they don't make very much here. So they're so busy drinking it all themselves that there's none left for export. Which is probably true, because there's not a lot of wine produced here, and there's still 8 million people in the country. And remember, like, a third of them are French, and a third of them are Italian. So there's obviously a community that loves wine here. I don't know if you noticed this, but this is our reception area, and so there's a perspex screen there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see that, but that's just to keep that safe. When people walk in, like, I'll come back here for a second. When people walk in, it says there, like, keep 2 meters distance. It says there, Abstand halten 2 Meter. And then here as well, we sort of try and keep them distant. But let's see, I'll go through here.
You're German.
This is our little... Huh?
I'm impressed by your German.
Yeah, ich will Schweizerdeutsch lernen.
Yeah.
This is our little restaurant. So we lost 2 tables here with the big ugly X on them.
Yeah.
There's the Lauterbrunnen Ski Club and all their trophies and accolades over the years. And this table in the corner, you might recognize that. That's called the Stammtisch.
Yeah.
And the Stammtisch is the table, means the locals table. And every restaurant and bar in Switzerland has a Stammtisch. And I remember when we got here first, we went to a local restaurant, and we saw everywhere was full, and we saw a table and we went and sat in it. We didn't understand why nobody was sitting in it, and we sat in it. And then some locals came in and stared at us, like, intensely, until we were told, you need to move because that's the Stammtisch for the locals. So it's like a VIP table for the locals, and it's sacred to them. And any changes we'd ever make here, like, there's one thing we would never change, and that is the Stammtisch.
Did you get a lot of locals coming in?
We have locals in every morning for coffee. And it's great for me because it's a good chance to practice my Schweizerdeutsch, my Swiss German. I'll just show you here. Look, there's a painting of the hotel with the great Staubach Falls up the back. And if you want, in a minute, I can walk out the back and let some people see that.
Yeah.
And here's the hotel staff in 1900.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's a good history here. This hotel's over 100 years old, and it's wooden, which, it's cool for me because in Ireland, no buildings are ever made from wood. So, and at night, like, the building, we were in here for 2 months on our own, and some people would say, did you any ghosts or anything like that? And I didn't experience anything, but the building creaks like crazy at nighttime.
Yeah, I know. I've stayed there.
This is our dining room, and it's we've lost probably half the tables in here, but can you see these big? Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so not too bad actually.
No, it's not.
You see, if we put the Swiss government say that if we put these perspex screens between the tables, then we don't have to have the 2 meter distance.
Oh, can't you do that outside then?
We can, except the perspex screens are 300 francs each.
Yeah, but that outdoor territory is super valuable. That's such.
Yeah, you know
that's
what?
where I would put that.
Yeah, maybe I should have given you a call before I made that decision. But yeah, 300 francs for a piece of plastic. So somebody's making a fortune somewhere. Let me see here. I'll take you. Do you want to go up the back and see the waterfall?
Yeah, please do.
I'll go up here.
Really, I think this is the most spectacularly located hotel of any hotel. I mean, you chose wisely when you chose that one.
Yeah, we were delighted with it, and we were obviously for 2 months. It was really hard there, and I have to say though, Switzerland, the stereotype has been really organized, and I have to say it came through for us in a really great way. Like the Swiss Federal Council, the government of Switzerland. Switzerland has no prime minister and no president. It has a 7-person council, and they automatically stepped in with financial help. Like days after the pandemic affected us, they stepped in. I'll take you over to our little garden.
Yeah, I was obviously worried about you as soon as that happened because I thought, wow, that was your whole business down the drain. So it's great that the government stepped in to save you guys.
Yeah, well, they stepped in and offered us a 300,000 franc loan, repayable over 7 years, with 0% interest.
That's great.
Now, I don't think we really needed it all that much, but we took it anyway, of course, and we have it there if we ever do need it. But the point was, if we were stuck, they were there to help. And we have a hotel in Ireland too, and it's closed until July 20th.
Wow.
And there's no help coming, so it's like a tale of two cities. It's also, I'm going to just hit my screen so you can see the back. Oh, see the background a bit better. There we go. The mighty Starbuck Falls.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
I've probably seen it. Well, I've seen it every day, of course, but 1,000 times, and I never once ceased to be amazed by it. Just looks spectacular. We planted some vegetables here. We went vegetarian for 2 months, myself and my wife.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we planted a little vegetable and herb garden out the back. Some rhubarb there, and some oregano, and some spring onions and whatnots. They make amazing pizza here in the restaurant. The restaurant here would do 3 times more business than the actual hotel rooms.
Yeah, the restaurant is well known in Lauterbrunnen for being the best restaurant in the area, really.
Yeah. And we have a really good Swiss chef, Raymond, who does the most incredible rosti and Lauterbrunnen bratwurst sausage, and but really good pizza here as well. And people might think, well, you don't go to Switzerland for the pizza. What would they know? But remember, like 1/3 of the population are Italian, Swiss, and they're right. Switzerland's right on our border, or sorry, Italy's right beside us, just over the mountains. There is would take you over into Switzerland. This area, or take you over into Italy. This area used to be Celtic, was where the Celts originated, and my ancestors. You still with me there, Sarah?
I am. I'm just enjoying the scenery. I miss that area so much.
Sorry.
Yeah,
and,
it's wonderful.
This was the first Celtic tribe to fall to the Romans. And you think, well, that's interesting. But if you look at a map, like it's just right next door. Up the back here is where you take the gondola up to Groote.
Yeah.
So a lot of your viewers would have taken that beautiful ride, and then of course that goes across top of the valley over to Murren. You can see, I don't know if you can see how fast the water's flowing down tonight, but because the snow is all it's been so hot for the last few days. The snow is melting extra quick now, so the waterfall's really coming down in a heavy flow.
Have you gotten up to do the Grootschap walk or any of the other hikes? No. Okay.
Well.
The Grootschap walk is actually one of my favorites because it's so easy, and they have that dairy hut halfway, so you can go and you can buy cheese and yogurt and stuff. I love that.
Yeah. You know, I'm embarrassed to say I haven't done it. I did it when I was here 20 years ago, but we rented 2 bikes from the bike shop next door, and they're electric bikes. So we've been heading down the valley towards Steckelberg.
Yeah.
We've been going beyond that up into the trails. We've gone down by Wilderswil, down by the river, down into Interlaken. Mm-hmm. So we've done a lot of cycling. We haven't done a lot of hikes, and well, to be honest, my wife's not really a hiker, so but we will eventually do them. You know, I don't know if I ever told you this, but we go hiking in Appenzell every year.
Oh,
every August, me and my 2 American friends, Patrick and Cyrus. And last summer we were in Appenzell, and the boys myself were after the hike. Like, we always treat ourselves to a nice cold beer and a nice plate of roasty, and we all thought, God, it'd be great to buy a hotel in Appenzell.
Yeah.
And so we Googled hotels for sale in Appenzell, and nothing popped up. But this hotel popped up. So that's how we found it, was on Google.
That's so weird, because we've known them forever. I've known Mark and Ursula for 20 years. So that's really weird.
Yeah. And I emailed the agent, and I said, I have experience with American tours. I work with Rick Steves in Seattle, and he said, there is an American tour company who stays in the hotel. And I said, okay, who is it? And he said, Rick Steves. Yeah. And then
you didn't even know that the Hotel Oberland was one of our hotels.
No, I didn't know. And all the like the last few days, I've been talking to a lot of Swiss people here. The last few days have been fantastic for me, not only because we've reopened and I've met lots of new people, but I've also got to meet Swiss people from the other cantons for the first time. I've just been amongst the Swiss Germans for the last 2 months, which is fantastic. But I never met the Swiss Italians before, and I always wondered, like, would they be more Swiss or more Italian, or what would they be like? And I met hundreds of Swiss French who described them or identify themselves as les Suisses romands.
Oh,
because
cool.
I would say to them, are you Swiss French? And they'd say, no, Suisse romand. So I've been talking like my French to them, and it's been pretty cool to meet all these people again, these people for the first time. But they've been saying things like, so you bought a hotel in Switzerland? I was like, yes. How did you find it? I said, Google, and they're like, oh, come on. I'm like, no, actually Google. And they said to me, but you had been to Lauterbrunnen before. And I'm like, no, not really. They said, well, how did you know about the hotel? And I said, well, Google Maps, like Google Earth. Patrick and Cyrus, my 2 friends from California, they just sit on Google Earth and look at the place. They're dying to be here, by the way. And they can't, because they're obviously there's no flights from the US, and they're looking frantically for the first flight from California to Zurich, because they'll be on it.
Yeah.
Because well, this is their dream too, and to be here, and they just.
I may be on the first flight too, Stephen, and come and camp out with you for a week.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So it's been a interesting baptism of fire here. Like, when I tell people here that I bought the hotel in February, most of them, like, when I tell guests, most of them just start to snigger, and they're like, that's the worst timing in the history of tourism to buy a hotel. But that travel will come back eventually. Yeah. This valley is always going to get people coming to stay here, and
that hotel's a winner. It's a winner. There's no, actually, I was thinking, isn't this a blessing in a weird way that you and Rubia got a chance to settle in and not be overwhelmed with the business and learn the language and get to know the locals? That seems like a good thing.
Absolutely. Like, there's definitely been a lot of positives in it, we definitely had a chance to settle in, and we've got to know a lot of good friends here. There's a guy in the valley here called Stefan, and he comes over to visit. And he has a Bernese mountain dog. The dog of the area. You may have seen that dog on some of my Instagram posts, but he had a bar in Los Angeles on Venice Beach for 15 years, and I think I hung out in Venice Beach a lot, back about 4 or 5 years ago, and I used to drink at his bar all the time. And yeah, and it's I always wondered why there was like Swiss flags in the bar and stuff, on Venice Beach. And then I met him locally, and he told me the story. And I said, I know that bar. So he's become a really good friend, and yeah, just to get a chance to know him and meet the people here, like, it's definitely been good. But this year is going to be interesting because there's going to be no Americans here, like no tour groups.
Yeah.
So people in the valley are conscious of that. There's also going to be no Chinese. Usually this valley has heavy amounts of Chinese visitors. Yeah. And I don't think there's going to be many Indians either, because usually this area has huge amounts of Indian visitors because there's a lot of Bollywood movies filmed here, and because it's spectacular. So the dynamic of tourism here is going to change this year. And some Swiss people have said to me, this is great because we can get to visit our own country again without hordes of international people here, So yeah. I'm not saying it's great, but that's what they've said to me. Like, a lot of them are actually now looking forward to visiting Switzerland, because the Swiss are great travelers, and the Swiss spend a lot of time like going to the Caribbean, or they like going to hot places. But this year they don't have that option, so they're going to be traveling around Switzerland. And we just bought a car today.
Oh, what'd you get?
I got a little Ford Kuga. It's just over here. You see it?
Oh, that's so cute. Yeah.
And it's 4 years old. There's the Swiss flag. There's the flag of our canton, Canton Bern. Yeah. Sorry, just there.
Yeah.
That's the local flag, and it's 4 years old, but it looks immaculate. Like the Swiss treat their cars like they treat their children. It's like spanking new. But no, we just thought the hotel kind of needs it, because if we ever want to pick up some tools or something from the hardware store, or a cylinder of gas for the patio heaters, or whatever it may be, we gotta go down to Interlaken, which is about 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
And so we decided we finally need a car. But now that we have the car, like, we could maybe go off on a few weekend trips ourselves. And there's some exciting spots. Like, I really want to go over now and see this place called Ticino, the Italian part. And
Ticino is really interesting.
Yeah, I've never been. Have you been over there a lot, or traveled through there? Or?
A little bit. I've been there a little bit, and I have some friends in Italy actually that have decided to move to Ticino because they can get paid a lot more there.
Wow.
So Italian. Have you been to Bern yet? You've been to Bern, I imagine.
No, I've just been through it, on the train now. So I haven't. No, I intend to go there. The top 3 places. Let's say top 5 places I want to go would be, number 1 would be Gruyere, where they make the cheese.
Ooh, yeah.
I've seen photographs that it looks like some sort of medieval Disney fortress. Yeah. Have you ever been there?
No, I haven't. I'd love to go.
Oh, it just looks incredible. But Stefan told me to go there and stay in the actual, there's kind of like a little village just there, and it looks like something from Beauty and the Beast or something. Little cobbled streets and kind of French Swiss style architecture. And number 2 I'd like to go would be to Geneva.
Yeah.
I'm really curious about what French Switzerland is going to be like.
Yeah.
And I'm also, like, I did a lot of, when I was studying history, I was really interested in the Reformation, so I'd like to go and see where Calvin hung out, and I think there's a big statue to him somewhere there in the middle.
Luzerne is super beautiful on the lake. It's so pretty. I did that as like a spontaneous visit with my group. I was driving down the road one day with my driver, Jean Stulens, who I think you know. And we were just chatting. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty lake. Oh, I've never been to Luzerne. Have you? And he's like, yeah, I've been plenty of times. And I'm like, let's go. So we pulled the bus of 30 people off the highway.
Wow.
And we did a spontaneous visit. I'd never been there, but we just he's
Yeah.
like dropped us off in the city center, and we took an hour or two to go and have hot chocolate and walk around.
It looks incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, super pretty. Yeah. Zermatt also is really neat. You should head to Zermatt.
Yeah. You know, every day I talk to people here, I get sort of 5 more destinations. Like Lucerne is up definitely there, Geneva, Gruyere. I want to go to Ticino to see the Italians, because a lot of the Swiss Germans here have said to me, they go to Ticino because it feels like they're going off to a foreign country, and there's people eating spaghetti, and the palm trees. They say the weather even over there is different.
It's totally different. It's totally different. If you drive and you go through the tunnel, you go through the Goddard Pass. When you get to the other side, it's like 10 degrees warmer and sunny.
Oh wow!
Yeah, super weird. So many times I've done that, and I'm shocked about the weather.
Yeah. I also want to go, like I was telling you, we go to Appenzell, and I want to go to a place over there called St. Gallen, because there was a monastery there founded by an Irish saint, and St. Gallen that's why it's called. It's named after an Irishman. So I want to make a small pilgrimage there someday. But there's plenty of good choices, There's just, I don't know if so there's Hotel Oberland now, just there.
Yeah.
And then
your cat.
There's the cat I don't know who the cat is, what the cat's name is, but over here is Hotel Schützen.
Yep.
And then the next one down there is Jungfrau, and they both were bought by a Chinese guy. I have never met him yet, but that's why you can see the Chinese flag flying up there beside the Swiss flag. See that?
Oh, really? I didn't know that the Hotel Jungfrau had been sold, because that was owned by an older Swiss couple the last time I stayed there.
Yeah. So the same gentleman who owns this one, who's Chinese, hence the flag, he bought the Jungfrau, which is, I'll just walk down the street here and show you. You can hear the bells in the background from the cows. It's kind of cool. Nice to hear that sort of.
I've never seen Lauterbrunnen that quiet ever. It's always just busy.
Yeah, it's I think for the next month or two, it's really just going to be weekends or national holidays where it'll be busy. But if you were an expat living in Zurich or somewhere, or Geneva, and you wanted to come and see this place without the hordes, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
Like you can, because public transport has always been operational still. The trains and the buses, and there's no problem getting here. So the Schützen is just here, and then we're going down towards the waterfall, and I'll head down towards the Hotel Jungfrau. I do think the Schützen has the best beer garden in town here, like this location.
Yeah.
Because if you're sitting there on a sunny day and you have this, you have an unobstructed view of the waterfall. Okay, I'll just walk down here a bit, and there, the Jungfrau. Now, I don't even know if it's open or not, but it has a lovely restaurant called Cafe Bell. A young Polish guy took it over and is doing real kind of foodie, gourmet, roasty, and I've eaten there a few times. And it's excellent.
The best roasty's always been at the Oberland, the farmer.
Sarah, merci vielmals.
It's true. I've always suggested people to go there. And actually, that's also the hangout for the Rick Steves tour guides. We all hang out there and drink beer and eat roasty.
Cool. I was thinking of making a special little VIP section up in the patio for Rick Steves tour guides and our friends and drivers and whatnots for a few late night shindigs. Because of course, you know that there's a law here that you must be quiet after 10 p.m.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's the rule. You have to no public noise after 10 p.m. So don't be a pain in the what after that time. There's the Hotel Jungfrau there now, and it also has the Swiss flag, of course, in the middle, then the European flag, and what's left of a Chinese flag there as well.
Wow. Yeah.
And then there people can see all the way down into the valley. There's a bit of cloud, of course, lying over it tonight, and the big mountains up here aren't visible. I had
you're off your video. There you go.
Oh, sorry. I had enrolled in ski lessons, in March, and I had paid 1,000 francs for rental of equipment for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And I went up and did about 3 or 4 lessons, and then it's got stopped.
Oh, no.
So Oh yeah, spent a fortune and I lost out on that. But I'll go again in the winter when it comes back, November, December time. Have you ever been up to Kleine Scheidegg?
That's my favorite hike. Yeah, Mannlichen Kleine Scheidegg. So you take the lift up from Bingen to Mannlichen and then walk across to Kleine Scheidegg. Once that trail opens, you got to take Rabia up there. It is the most spectacular.
Yeah, I've only seen it in the snow. So I got we had done 4 lessons on the baby slopes, and I felt like I'll be okay, And I said to Hubie, let's head up to Kleine Scheidegg, and our ski instructor who works for us at the hotel, Rebecca, she said, you'll be fine. You just get the train up to Kleine Scheidegg. You don't have to buy a ski pass up there. You just ski back down. You ski past some bar in Alaman or somewhere, and you can stop there and have a beer. Yeah. And she portrayed it as being really cruisy. And so I headed up with the skis, and within 30 seconds, I knew I was out of my depth. I was terrified, and I couldn't. I couldn't stop and go back up the hill again. And there was no fence or nothing. Like if I had gone over the edge, you'd be rolling for 200 or 300 feet. And the snow patrol came and rescued me. So I was they got me off the piste, but I was embarrassed. This is one of the cafes here called Airtime.
Yes, they do the paragliding. You've got to do it. It's so fun. They're really good too. I've done it with them. They're amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can see an advertisement for it there.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do it,
You have to, Stephen. It's great. I did it with them for I think it was my birthday last year or the year before. It's not scary at all. They're super professional. It's just the only thing that sucks is that you take the lift up to Murin and then you have to do like a really pretty steep hike up the hill from Murin to the takeoff point.
Okay.
But there's that. It's
what's the fatality rate?
I think it's probably pretty low because you're chained to somebody who knows what they're doing. So you hike up there, they put you into a harness and they attach you to somebody who knows what they're doing, and he has a parachute, and then you run together and you start running and you just run, and all of a sudden you're not running anymore because there's no ground underneath you. It's crazy. And then you're just sitting there like in a seat, and it is absolutely enchanting. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
We have two of the paragliding instructors are working with us at the hotel, and they've invited me to go up with them. And at the moment though, they're not allowed to go until June 8th, and they're not allowed to fly because of social distancing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Kind of hard to be 2 meters away from your tandem paragliding instructor who's attached to you.
Yeah.
Also, they're worried because when the paragliding starts again, they were saying like they'd be doing, I don't know, 10 or 15 jumps a week. These guys, or maybe a day. I don't know, but they did a lot of jumps. But they're worried now that they might be restricted to one a day, or even less per week than that. And also they have to wear a mask, as will the person who's jumping, right? The guest.
That does not seem safe to have a mask on while you're doing that.
Well, they'll have to have a face mask and a visor, and they're worried about that because a lot of their extra money is made from taking a photograph while they're up there and selling it to the client,
Yeah.
So they were saying, some of the local guys were saying to me, how are you going to make that extra money now if people won't want the photograph, because it'll just be like a face mask.
They'll still want it though. The photos they take are spectacular. They took one of me that was just like, incredible. So I don't think that's a problem.
I'm going to do, we also have a base jumper working for us. The guy who was at the table there, he's a base jumper, and that's pretty crazy stuff. Like I know for certain I will never do that, but they're jumping, in case anybody listening doesn't know what base jumping is, they're basically going up to the top of the hill here and jumping off. I think they jump for 30 or 40 meters before pulling a parachute, and off they go. And that can be fatal, can be lethal. But I'm sure there's huge rush or a buzz for that. Some of them do it with a wingsuit as well.
Yeah.
So essentially they're flying. They're humans who are flying for probably 50 meters or more, and then they take off and just pull the parachute and off they go. But I've seen the videos on YouTube. I've seen Mateus here. Every time he jumps, he takes a little video in his GoPro, and then he shows it to me, and I think, man, you're off your head doing that.
You're not going to get into base jumping. You're not going to do the Inferno. You know about the Inferno, right?
No, what's that?
The Inferno, it's a ski race where you go up to the Schiltorn, and then you ski from the Schiltorn down to Lauterbrunnen.
Oh no, I'm okay. I don't. Well, maybe 5 years time I'll try that. They have a World Cup race here on the Lauterbrunnen every January, I think, and that's people can see up here. There's up to Wengen, up beyond there. There's a real world class piste. So, you know, I've kind of arrived in a place where it's a paradise in the summer for hiking and flowers and all sorts of great food and everything. And then in the winter, there's excellent ski as well. Now I have been homesick, of course, you know, because I haven't seen Ireland in 3 months. I can't go home at the minute. People say, "Oh, God, it's great you're there. Do you miss home?" And I do miss home, but it's beyond my control because there's no flights. I'm here. I'm stranded. The Irish government were offering repatriation flights for citizens, and I was probably the only Irish citizen in the world who didn't want one. You know,
yeah.
I want to stay here. We felt really safe here. There's not many people around. You know, the virus is obviously very dangerous, so we didn't want to be around too many people. For the first month, we just stayed in the hotel ourselves and kept the property going. You know, and you know, people say fresh air is very good for combating coronavirus. Vitamin D, glorious sunshine here. So we've had a healthy lifestyle here for 2 months, and so I was kind of happy not to be going anywhere. But at the moment, anyway, I haven't had a chance to go home, and it looks like it could be another month maybe before I get a chance to go back.
So where is home for you, Stephen? I mean, that's kind of a question. What is Lauterbrunnen your home now?
Well, you know, I do feel at home here, but no, it's not my home. Home will always be Ireland, you know, but I do also feel nomadic. So there's some guess. Good talk.
You and me are so similar, Stephen. We've always said that. You're Northern Irish, I'm Northern Irish, and we both have entrepreneurial spirits, and we're both nomads. You're cut from the same cloth, man. Yeah,
and we also have a plan to buy a few more hotels. I've really got into this hotel bug. It's just cool to buy we don't want to be like Steve Wynn or anything with 300, 400 bed hotels. We like these little smaller ones with like 10 to 30 rooms.
Yeah.
You know, because then they're affordable, and also people really like them. Like, we've had people arrive here in the last few days with huge expensive cars, and they're not looking for 5-star Hyatt Regency or whatever. They can do that, and they have probably done that loads of times, but they like the quirkiness of this place, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, so we want to keep adding to our hotels, and we think that Scotland will be the next place we go. And
you were talking about Oban, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my business partners, Patrick and Cyrus, like, they're pretty busy doing other stuff, so they can't be full-time hoteliers. So they sort of, see you guys. Merci vielmals. Guten Abend. Dankeschön. So they kind of, the plan is that Hubie and I are going to be the shock troops, and we'll buy a little hotel somewhere, and Hubie and I will be sent in like the first force, you know, to go in and just get the place ready. A lot of the hotels we've been buying, well, we only have 2, but like when we bought them, the people who had them for a long time, and they had different systems to operate to us, and I got pretty good at technical things like software and everything. And you know, there's some hotels that still use diaries, for example, you know, and telephones, and, you know, like people would call and they'd take the booking and put it in the diary. You know, here we've cut all that out because we have the software to take the bookings all online.
Yeah.
We don't answer the phone here anymore to people who are calling for a reservation, because if people, I found at our hotel in Dingle, 90% of the phone calls were people calling saying, "Do you have a room?" You know,
Yeah.
and 90% of the time we didn't have a room, so the answer would be no. Sorry, no. But you'd still go and check out of courtesy. So you'd waste 10 minutes going to check to just tell them no, and then, you know, the easiest thing was just to direct them to the website where they'd click on the date and it would tell them no or yes or whatever. And then if I was to say yes, you know, if I was to say, "Oh yeah, yes, we do have a room," they would say, "What's the price?" You know, and I would give them the price, and they might like the price, and I'll always get uncomfortable talking prices to people, you know.
I think that this is old wisdom, though, Stephen. I think that even in the Rick Steves guidebooks, it's advised this, but this is outdated wisdom that people should try looking online and also calling the hotel directly. I think that's just kind of old-fashioned wisdom, because there used to be a time when you could do that. You could call at the last minute, especially, and get a discount. So I think that's just old-fashioned, outdated wisdom, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, if they call my places there, they'll not be getting an answer. But just because we have better things to be doing, you know, I'd rather be in the beer garden having a beer with the guests, or, you know, talking to them about roasty or Ticino or whatever.
Sure.
You know, that's for me, that's the joy of it. Not telling them, look, it's 200 francs for a room, and they say, "Can you do it for 150?" And I hate that stuff. You know, I find talking about money vulgar, and so I just get uncomfortable with that aspect of capitalism. So I prefer just to let the computer do it. So anyway, we've brought on these systems. So the boys' attitude is, Hubie and I will be sent in as the shock troops, and to teach the staff the new ways. You know, that their time is better spent talking to guests. You know, hanging out with guests, not answering emails and answering calls. Oh God, you know, we should be when when the guests arrive, that we should be taking them and giving them a little complimentary drink or something, or asking them about their day, or telling them about the hike that you just told me up to Kleine Scheidegg, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Stephen, I think that I'm going to have to come and work for you eventually. I was just formulating a plan. You get a network of hotels, and I'll just spend like 2 months a year at each hotel working for you, and that way I get to live in different places and have a job.
Yeah, that would be so cool.
And actually, what Stephen and I were talking about, just for you guys to know, this is just a thing that's on my mind. I don't know if we're going to do it, but it's a great idea. I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun to do a retreat at Stephen's hotel and just take like a block of rooms and invite however many of you want to come, and we could spend a week at Stephen's hotel and do hiking and cooking and, you know, walking and all of the cool. There's so much to do in that area. We could do day trips into Bern or Lauterbrunnen. So maybe Stephen and I can work on this. What do you think, Stephen? Would that be a fun project?
Yeah, you know, I think it would be fantastic. And just the idea of staying in one place for a week, and every day there's an excursion if you want, or if you don't want, you know.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if you arrive here with your group, and you put up on the notice board, you say, "Right, guys, tomorrow we're taking the train to Thun," you know.
Yeah.
And we're leaving at 10 a.m. Be there, or go off into the Alps on your own. You know, it just sounds great, like not having to pack up and move on. And there's so many cool spots, like Switzerland's small, so it's not hard to get around. And public transport's amazing here. You might not even need a bus, to be honest, you know.
Yeah, and Trish and I were kind of thinking that maybe Trish and I do it together, and we have like a bigger group, and then we'll offer 2 activities a day. I'll do one thing and she'll do another. I'll do a hike and she'll do an excursion to Interlaken, something like that. So we're definitely going to be using your hotel for some of our creative new ideas in tourism. So that'd be fun.
My wife Hubia is kind of you know, so you know, her name it looks like Rubia, but it's pronounced Hubia with the Portuguese. So we also have the building across the street here.
Yeah.
And we kind of got into yoga, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take you over there and show you. And we were thinking, God, it would be cool to have a yoga studio here in Lauterbrunnen. And
there isn't there.
There is. I think there's plenty of yoga teachers around, and there's yoga up in Murin and up in up in Wengen, but I don't know. We haven't encountered it in Lauterbrunnen yet. And maybe that's because of we've been here for 2 months when it's been in lockdown. But we thought there was on a Saturday night in the restaurant, Stefan and his family were here, and I always like to give them a little glass of Appenzeller schnapps at the end of dinner, complimentary. So as I went over, I said to them, would anyone like some Appenzeller schnapps? And 2 Americans in behind the glass perspex screen went, we would, So I thought, God, there's Americans here. And so I said, okay, I'll come to you next. So I went over to them and got chatting to them. And the lady was from San Francisco. And she's a yoga master, and she's based in Geneva. She has her own yoga school. And she said, oh, you should, we said, we'd love to set up a yoga studio, but we'd have visiting teachers come here.
Yeah.
She said, oh yeah, there's the yoga teachers, they travel the world and they go to all these lovely destinations. So this is all blocked off with storage at the moment, but this, in behind this partition is this huge big room. And, but this would be, let's see if I open this door. This would be the view from the yoga studio.
Oh, not terrible.
Yeah.
And what people don't know, if you've never been there, is what you should be seeing there on a clear day is the Jungfrau, the monk, and the Eiger. You get this beautiful view of the mountains down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gorgeous. And up to Wengen. Yeah.
We thought, God, we could have guests doing yoga, and I'd eventually get in shape, because I said I was vegetarian for 2 months, but I've gone back on the roasty again now since the restaurant reopened, and it's heavy stuff. The food here is...
People that don't know, rushti is basically hash browns smothered in Gruyere cheese with like fried onions and bacon on top. That's why it's so good.
And yeah, and it is incredible, but there's a roasty made here at the Hotel Oberland roasty, and it's got a big fried egg on top of it as well.
That's a good one. Yeah.
God, it's just dripping in cheese, probably, I don't know, 10,000 calories. And so yeah, I think I'll probably need a bit of yoga or a bit of hiking just to lose some weight after a few more months here.
My tradition is that I go up and I hike from Mannlichen to Kleine Scheidegg, and then I take the train down to Lauterbrunnen after I've had a nice long hike. Then I go to the Hotel Oberland and have the Oberland or the Farmer Rushti, because I've earned it at that point, I think.
Yeah, you know that Tolkien came hiking here.
What's that?
Did you know that Tolkien?
Tolkien came. Yeah, because they say that Lauterbrunnen is actually what he modeled Rivendell on.
Yeah, and the tourist office here, goes into that in a understandably big way. It probably could even do it in a bigger way, to be honest, because it's really interesting that Tolkien came here hiking just like you hiked here, and he was so inspired by the place that he just thought it was so incredibly magical. That here we are 100 years later, and people like me and you are coming and doing the very same thing. So I think that the tourist office could probably even promote that even more. They do a good job of it, but I think it would attract a lot more people, because I didn't know that when I got here first, and then when I read about it and saw some images of Lord of the Rings and then looked at the valley again and thought, oh yeah, now I can see that. This is the local bike shop next door, and it's run by Werner and his brother won a stage of the Tour de France.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's a former Olympian. They do a really good business renting bikes. If you can see the...
Next time I come, you're going to have to take me biking. I've never been biking there. I've helped my clients get bikes, but I've never been biking myself around here.
They rent out these bikes every day, and what's up? You can see the stop sign there to keep people back from him when they come to rent the bike. He stayed open. He was able to stay open throughout the lockdown because a Swiss law said that anybody who fixed bikes was able to stay open.
Wow.
And there's the Valley Hostel over there. Have you ever stayed in that?
No. It has a reputation.
I last night I met the owner. He's also called Stefan. There's a lot of Stefans around here. In fact, I have to confess, sometimes when I'm leaving notes around here for people, I sign my name Stefan. But anyway, I had a few drinks with him last night, and he was telling me about hostel life here in the valley, and I think he's got about 30 beds over there. But these days, quiet, you know. Like in the hotel here now, I wanted to be full over the last few days, so I really dropped the price down. It was probably half of what it was last year.
Yeah.
And so if we're selling rooms for whatever 90 or 100 francs, and it used to be 200 francs, well, if the hostel used to be, I don't know, 50, he's gone down to 25. So it's really hard for him for all hostels to make some money now.
That place is kind of notorious for being party central.
Party central, that's
So it's great if you're young and you're looking to hook up. That's a great place to stay. I've aged out, I think, of the hostel system personally.
Yeah, well, you see, so we now have, there's only one bar in town, the Horner Bar.
Yeah.
And Stefan in the hostel. So the hostel is just, let's point it out again, just there.
Yeah.
So it's probably 100 yards away. And the nearest bar is 10 minutes walk that away.
Yeah, toward the church.
Until now, because in a few days' time, when I open the ski room bar just here.
Oh, snap. Look at that. You're going to get all the hostel crowd. Holy cow.
So the hostel, and unfortunately for the bar 10 minutes away, they have to have 2 meters of social distancing. And the bar is, I'm not sure how big it is, but it might be 10 square meters or something. It's not very big. So unfortunately for them, they've lost a lot of their tables. And they have perspex screens everywhere. And it's just so the point is, I hope to make some francs here in the beer
I never went down to the Bar Horner because it was just always too far. I just kind of didn't feel like going all the way outside of town. But if there's a cool bar in the center, dang man, that's a great business plan right there.
When we got here first, last year, Patrick and Cyrus, my two Californian business partners, and myself, we headed up to Wengen. And Wengen, I'm not sure if you'd agree or not, but it's a little bit like posher or
it is
snobbier or a bit more. It seemed it would high end or something.
Century kind of grand tour, sort of old fashioned tourism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it gets a lot of English up there who've been, traveling here since the Victorian Britons came here first, like Tolkien and so on. And but way back, like Thomas Cook came here, I think, to Wengen. And anyway, there's a couple of really nice hotels up there. So we went up and we were having some drinks, and the manager of the hotel said to us, "Are you guys staying here with us?" Because we were trying out some cocktails, and he said Hugo's or something like that, and Aperol Spritz, and he said, "You guys staying here in the hotel?" And we said, "No, we're staying down in Lauterbrunnen." And he said, "Lauterbrunnen?" He's like, "What the hell would you stay in Lauterbrunnen for?" He said, "That's not where the cool people go, And as he walked away, we all looked at each other, and my friend Patrick said, "Not yet,"
Hey, well, one thing I just thought about, you have to have on your bar menu because it used to exist like 20 years ago, but I haven't seen it anywhere. Heidi Cocoa. So it's the cocoa, hot chocolate with peppermint schnapps. You got to put that on your bar menu.
Heidi Cocoa.
Heidi Cocoa, yeah. So it's.
Now, if I put that on the menu, who would I expect to buy that? Swiss people or?
No, when the Americans come back, because it's fun. But up in Wengen, I will say I do actually really love Wengen. I stay at the Hotel Falcon up there a lot, and I love that hotel. Jenny and Sina, who run it, are fantastic. They're Italian-ish, so I speak Italian to a lot of their staff, and they're really they run something that I don't think exists in the world anymore, which is one of these old fashioned grand tour hotels where every year I know the guests because the same guests come back every year. And it's just kind of fun. It feels like summer camp somehow when I stay up there. Everybody knows everybody. We have these big grand dinners out on the lawn. It's cool. It's got a totally different feeling than Lauterbrunnen, though. Lauterbrunnen to me feels more like that's where kind of backpackers, hikers, people who are in sports stay. It's a little more kind of outdoors.
Definitely a different scene.
Yeah.
We went up to the Falcon because I had heard of the connection, and we went up there. It was one February night. It was cold. It was snowing, and it was icy. And we had dinner in a lovely restaurant called the Baron. You know it?
Yeah, I do.
The bear, like because remember the bear there is the same on. Oh, he's on that flag, except you can't see it now. That's it. Here's that. The bear is the symbol of the canton. Anyway, we went up to the Falcon, and I just thought this place is beautiful. Like, it's old world. There was all these posh English skiers hanging around, sipping probably Heidi Cocos or whatever. Yeah, it was a cool spot. There's a lot of nice, cool little hotels around the valley. I didn't meet Sina. I'd heard about her from some of our network, and I think she has two daughters who help her run the place.
Yeah, Jenny's the main one. She's fantastic. She's really cool. She's also a paraglider.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I think they also have a restaurant up there, maybe somewhere else up in Wengen.
They have a pub. They have Sina's Pub, which is a place I always send people because up in Wengen, all the restaurants are super expensive. And so that's the most affordable place to eat. And I think the thing I love about those guys is that they are always looking to make sure that food and everything and accommodation are affordable because so many places up there are ridiculous. So they keep their prices really super reasonable for what it is. But
yeah, that's interesting. We want to have a little venue here where there won't be any crazy parties or anything, but there will be somewhere to go and have a drink or a cocktail until 10 p.m. You know, at 10 p.m. then people can go wherever they want. We're not going to have anything crazy, but we do want somewhere where you can sit and have a nice cocktail, and it doesn't have to be a pub setup. You know, or your Heidi Coco or your Aperol Spritz, or we've discovered they have an amazing Swiss whiskey here. And made in the local, there's a brewery down in Interlaken called Rugenbrau that make the beer, and they also make great whiskey. And they take the whiskey up to the Jungfrau Gok up there, and they mature the whiskey in the glacier.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they take the casks and they mature it in the glacier. Now that could just be a great marketing gimmick or something. I don't know if it affects the whiskey or not, but it's tasty stuff, you know. So we want everything that's in the bar to be Swiss, you know. Like if you come to our place in Dingle, Milltown House, then you're going to drink Dingle gin. People sometimes say, "Do you have Gordon's or do you have whatever?" We're like, "No, we have Dingle gin." You know, so you come here and you want a gin or a whiskey, you're going to have Swiss stuff, you know. People, if somebody was to say, "Do you have Budweiser?" We're like, "No, we have Swiss beer," you know. So, yeah. I just had to point out our flowers here. We've despite the financial crisis of the pandemic, we've just invested 2,000 francs in flowers. And the hotel here is quite famous for having a flower collection up on the balconies. Now we've only started ground floor and first floor, and up the back there's another grand's worth of flowers. The Elsa, the flower lady here, she's fantastic. Like, she helps us with herbs and helps us with the translations of the names of flowers and everything. And she's been providing the hotel with flowers, I think, for a decade or two. And she came and said, you know, we do the flowers every May. You have to wait until the first week of May is over because there's some sort of I can't remember the name of it, but some like last frost of the year that would kill them, but after that then you can go ahead and plant. And so we said, yeah, of course we want the flowers, and then I forgot to ask the price, but
nothing in Switzerland, that's for sure, not even plants.
Yeah, well, you know, most staff here are on 25 francs an hour, and a franc is Swiss franc is almost equivalent to $1, and so it's labor costs in the hotels about 40% of revenue. So it's high. Like it's
Yeah.
definitely a challenge. And so workers are well looked after. They're well paid. They work 43.5 hours a week, and most are not interested in doing any extra. I guess if you're on 25 francs an hour minimum, then you'd be happy to go off for the rest of the time and hike or bike or something nice, paraglide.
What is the cost of living though? If you wanted to get an apartment in Lauterbrunnen, what would that cost to live there?
I think it's kind of comparable. Like there's with most like spots that we would be familiar, like Seattle or Dublin or somewhere. Up the back here, there's an apartment for rent at the moment, and I think it's 1,400 francs a month.
Oh, okay. So people that work a regular job, 25 francs an hour, if they have a 1,400 franc a month apartment, they're going to be fine. That's a
Yeah. The problem I think in Lauterbrunnen is there's just not a whole pile of places. Lauterbrunnen had the Airbnb issue as well.
Yeah.
Where there was a huge amount of listings, so that I think that meant there was not really anywhere for people to live. But that's gone now.
What is your sense of that? You and I haven't talked much about that, but now that a lot of those Airbnb hosts are going to go belly up. So what is your sense? You know, a lot of people in the hotel and Airbnb community. What is your sense of what's going to happen there?
Yeah, well, you see, I'm a fan of Airbnb because many reasons, but I am a fan of it, and I'm an Airbnb super host, and I have many listings, 3 or 4 listings, and but I can also see where it's very harmful to a community, because like for example in Dingle, where we also have a hotel, one of my homes, nobody who lives locally can get anywhere to rent. There's nothing left because everything has been on Airbnb,
Yeah.
and if you're a retiree or whatever, and you have a spare bedroom, your kids have grown and moved on, and you have a spare bedroom. 3 years ago, you might have given that to the student worker or the summer worker for 100 euros a week, and now you can get 100 euros a night for that room. So why would you give it to the student? So, so that was really harmful in communities, and also harmful to tourism communities that needed summer staff and couldn't get them. But that's all. I mean, Airbnb's completely not operating at the moment. I think they're going to be. I don't know if they're in trouble or anything, but like they were going to be floated publicly this year, I think, and suddenly the huge amount of their value is gone. They had to refund. I'm pretty sure I'm accurate in this one. I think they had to refund $1 billion of bookings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they wanted to keep the customers happy, of course, the travelers happy, and they promised unconditional refunds for February and March and April. And sorry, there's a Swiss guy going by in his 4-wheeler. A lot of 4-wheelers around here. So they promised refunds to everybody, and they gave the refunds back. But the hosts then went bananas because a lot of hosts are small operators who have a mortgage to pay, and they had budgeted for that money coming in, that revenue. So Airbnb have announced I think a $5 or $10 million relief fund to help some hosts, and because they got such a backlash from hosts, they've offered a small percentage of the cancellation fee back, and so yeah, it remains to be seen what will happen in Lauterbrunnen with it, but I don't think Airbnb will be back the same way that it was. Although I have to say, I was reading an article last week that said nobody's going to want to go and stay in an apartment that somebody else has stayed in a few days before.
Yeah.
And I thought, all these experts saying this, and I have to say, for the last 4 days here, people have been sitting down at a table that somebody ate at 5 minutes before. No, we've cleaned it with whatever detergent or whatever, disinfected it and everything. But people sleep in our rooms here, and 2 days later, somebody else is sleeping there. So people, everybody's just going on as if it's nothing has changed, except we're just keeping distance a bit, and we're not shaking hands and we're not hugging. But so I would be, the last few days have made me think that travel might come back a little quicker than a lot of people are saying.
I would agree with you, but I would also say that just for myself, I would probably shift to a stronger focus on staying in hotels, just because I know that the cleaning standards are going to be appropriate. Whereas an Airbnb, it's whatever. And I've stayed in plenty of dirty Airbnbs that people just didn't take the cleaning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you're right there. There definitely people will be more keen to go to a hotel. Yeah, that's true. For me also, Airbnb has always been hit and miss. I've had some great places, but I've also had some disasters. And
oh yeah, I had a horrible disaster this summer. Somebody in Paris tried to accuse me of breaking something that fell apart. I didn't break it, and it was just such a nightmare to try and get that sorted out. So yeah, I'm totally off Airbnb right now.
Yeah, I stayed in Cork last year. I booked an Airbnb one night and I walked in, and I swear to God, I couldn't sleep there. And I've slept in some rough spots, but I just couldn't do it. So I had to just leave it. And it was 100 something euros. Before Christmas there, I was in LA, and I booked a nice apartment there near Venice Beach. And when the guy came to give me the key and bring me to the apartment, and he said, look, just read this letter. If you have any questions, let me know. And he ran out the door, right? And the letter said, if you are stopped by other residents in this apartment block, please tell them you're friends of Mr. Gonzalez, and do not tell him you're an Airbnb guest. And I thought, what the hell, because Airbnb I think was illegal in that district of Los Angeles. Yeah. And I thought, Jesus, suddenly the Holiday Inn becomes attractive again,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I had the experience of having this Airbnb that I paid a fortune for in Paris that was absolutely not what it looked like in the pictures. But you get there, and I had 5 people with me, and I'm like, okay, well, it's not like we can just relocate or get our refund or whatever. We have to stay here. Whereas if you go to a hotel and you get a bad room, you're like, you guys, this is a bad room, give me another one,
Yeah, absolutely.
So. All right, my friend. This has been absolutely delightful. You and I were like, yeah, we'll speak for 20 minutes. My friend, it's been an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, cool. Well, time flies.
Time flies when you're talking to somebody you enjoy talking to. So
yeah, absolutely. There's Hubie is sneaking a tapioca. She likes Swiss food, but she prefers her Brazilian. She found there's a big Portuguese community here in Interlaken. Yeah. 10,000 Portuguese or so in this not just this canton, but this city. We have 4 Portuguese working for us, and so Portuguese is actually the most spoken language in the hotel. Would you believe? So it's good. It's great for Hubia here. She can talk a lot of Portuguese to them. But anyway, she found a Portuguese food store in Interlaken where she can buy the ingredients for tapioca.
Okay. We just had tapioca in our house last night too. So, it's
not really?
Just yeah, we love tapioca.
I would love a tapioca. What? No, it's okay. Whenever. Thanks. Obrigado. Yeah, okay.
All right, Stephen, it's so great to talk to you. We will have to keep talking about this idea of doing a retreat at your hotel. I think that would be
love that.
And I also want to put you on notice that if they allow Americans back into Europe in September, I am getting on a plane, and you are on my list of people I'm going to visit. So
perfect. We would love that. And I've sent out a message to all our friends and anybody everybody's welcome here. Don't book online. Definitely don't call the hotel, of course, because we'll hopefully not be answering. But don't book online. Just send me an email, and we'll make sure everybody's well looked after with mates rates and complimentary schnapps.
Friends of Adventures with Sarah can stay at the Hotel Oberland and talk to Stephen for that deal, which I think is great. So we're all a big family, and we all take care of each other and take care of our people. So, All right, my friend, I will be talking to you again really soon. It's so great to see you and your lovely wife and your beautiful hotel. And I wish you all the best. I am so excited about the future at that hotel. And in Oban, if you end up in Oban too, that would be super duper fun. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I look forward to catching up with you somewhere over. Hopefully by the end of the summer we'll cross paths.
Yeah. I'm thinking if I don't get to Switzerland, if I could even get to Ireland, I might even head out to Ireland, wherever I can go, whatever plane I can get on. I will definitely be doing that whenever I get a chance. So,
cool.
All right. Talk to you soon, Stephen. Thanks so much for sharing. And everybody, thank you for joining me for another Monday coffee chat with my friend Stephen McPhilemy. That's Hotel Oberland that he owns. His other hotel in Ireland is called the Milltown House in Dingle. And he also runs his own tours, and his tours are Essential Ireland tours, where he does small group tours around Ireland that stay in castles. And we're going to collaborate on one of those in the future, right, Stephen?
I hope so. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we got a lot of things cooking. So you're going to see Stephen and I back working together again real soon. So please join us again. Tomorrow's going to be another cooking lesson. Later this week on Thursday, we're going to be joined by Ruth Manfredi, who's going to be live cooking with me from the Cinque Terre. And then Friday, I'm not sure who our lunch and learn is going to be. I have 2 or 3 people I'm talking to, so I'll get a schedule up for our talks for the rest of the week, hopefully by tomorrow. So ciao, ciao to everybody. How do we say good evening? Guten Abend, right?
Guten Abend. Yeah. Grützak.
Grützak. Okay, guten Abend.
Right. My mouth is full of tapioca, sorry.
We'll just say ciao, ciao. Bye, Stephen. Thanks a lot.
Das ist wunderbar. Bye.